On a quiet summer morning in 2000, a young lifeguard named Molly Bish went missing from her post at Comins Pond in Warren, Massachusetts. The peaceful town was shaken as a seemingly routine day turned into the beginning of one of the most haunting, unsolved mysteries in American history. For years, the family and community searched for answers, but Molly's case would take a tragic turn, leaving them with even more haunting questions. This is the story of Molly Bish, a life stolen too soon, and a mystery that continues to baffle investigators to this day. A small-town summer job. Molly Bish was a bright and athletic 16-year-old who lived with her family in the small town of Warren, Massachusetts. She was known for her infectious smile and close-knit family who supported her in all her pursuits. In the summer of 2000, Molly was excited to begin her new job as a lifeguard at Comins Pond, a popular local swimming spot where families and children would come to cool off and enjoy the sunshine. For Molly, the job was a perfect blend of responsibility and fun, and it allowed her to enjoy the outdoors while earning some money. On the morning of June 27th, Molly's mother, Maggie, drove her to Comins Pond for her shift. They arrived around 10 a.m., and after Magi dropped Molly off, she watched her daughter walk toward her post, then drove away. Magi had no idea that this would be the last time she would see Molly alive. The vanishing. A few hours later, swimmers arrived at Comins Pond and were surprised to find that the lifeguard chair was empty. Molly's backpack, sandals, and whistle were at her station, but she was nowhere to be seen. Concern quickly turned to panic as the day wore on without any sign of her. Friends, family, and the town came together, initiating an intense search that would stretch over weeks and months, but there was no trace of Molly. Investigators combed the area around Comins Pond, searching every inch of the woods and the pond itself. They interviewed friends, family, and visitors, but no one could provide a solid lead. The Bish family was left heartbroken and desperate for answers as the weeks turned into months. The chilling clues. One chilling detail came to light during the investigation. On the day before Molly's disappearance, her mother noticed a suspicious man parked near the pond. The man had been sitting in a white car, staring at the area where Molly's lifeguard post was located. Magi recalled feeling uneasy about his presence, but thought nothing more of it until Molly vanished the next day. The man in the white car became a key suspect in the investigation. But despite witness reports and composite sketches, police were unable to identify or locate him. The image of the mystery man lingered in the minds of investigators and haunted the Bish family. Was this man responsible for Molly's disappearance? The lack of evidence made it difficult for authorities to pursue him, but he remained a focal point of their investigation. The discovery, 3 years later. In June 2003, 3 years after Molly's disappearance, a devastating discovery was made. While out in the woods in the nearby town of Palmer, a hunter stumbled upon a human bone. The area was dense and remote, but as authorities scoured the location, they found more remains scattered among the underbrush. Testing confirmed the worst. The remains were Molly Bish's. The Bish family's heartbreak was renewed as they were forced to face the reality that their beloved daughter had not just vanished, but had been brutally murdered. The once hopeful search for a missing person transformed into a hunt for a killer, and the town of Warren was shaken to its core. Despite finding Molly's remains, the crime scene offered few clues. There were no weapons, no clear cause of death, and no traces of DNA that could link anyone to the crime. The isolated location only deepened the mystery and raised disturbing questions. Who could have done this, and why? The suspects and theories. With few leads, police turn their attention to possible suspects, revisiting the man in the white car and others who seemed suspicious or had a history of violent behavior in the area. Suspect 1. The man in the white car. The mysterious man seen by Molly's mother remained a top suspect. Witnesses described him as having a disheveled appearance and dark hair, and Magi Bish believed he had been watching Molly. This lead was heavily publicized, and composite sketches were shared, but no one came forward to identify him definitively. Some residents speculated he could have been a transient or a visitor from outside the community. Suspect 2. Rodney Stanger. A new lead surfaced years later in 2009, when police learned of Rodney Stanger, a convicted murderer with ties to Massachusetts. Stanger, who had killed his girlfriend in Florida and had a violent history, had lived near Warren around the time of Molly's disappearance. Investigators noted several troubling connections, including Stanger's possible access to a white car. His violent tendencies and familiarity with the area raised red flags, and police seriously considered him a viable suspect. Suspect 3. Unnamed persons of interest. Over the years, other persons of interest were considered, some known to have troubled histories, criminal records, or violent behaviors. However, these leads remained inconclusive. Despite numerous interviews and some evidence gathering, none of these individuals were definitively linked to Molly's case. While each suspect brought a different piece to the puzzle, the full picture never materialized. The lack of concrete evidence left investigators and the Bish family in a painful limbo. The role of community and media. The media played a significant role in Molly's case, bringing national attention to the unsolved murder of a young girl. The Bish family became advocates for missing children and victim rights, using their platform to keep Molly's story alive and push for justice. Their efforts raised awareness, inspiring multiple searches and community efforts. The small-town community remained resilient, supporting the Bish family and joining law enforcement in renewed search efforts over the years. Tips came in, some credible and others less so, but none led to a breakthrough in the case. Documentaries, podcasts, and news specials covered Molly's story, and the case even inspired changes in local policies around safety for children and young adults in isolated areas. However, the increased awareness, while helpful in keeping the case in the public eye, did not lead to a resolution. New investigative techniques and hope for justice. With the passage of time, forensic science and DNA technology improved, providing fresh hope for long unsolved cases like Molly's. In recent years, investigators have re-examined the evidence, hoping that advances in technology might reveal something previously undetectable. DNA samples, while minimal and degraded, have been reprocessed with new methods, and investigators are exploring genealogy databases to search for familial DNA matches. These efforts have brought cautious optimism to the case, with authorities saying they're more determined than ever to uncover what happened to Molly. Her family and community continue to hope for closure, and the public waits anxiously, hoping that modern science will finally solve the mystery of her tragic fate. The lasting impact of Molly's story. Molly Bish's disappearance and death have left a lasting impact on her community, the state of Massachusetts, and beyond. Her family founded the Molly Bish Foundation, an organization that raises awareness for missing children and advocates for child safety and victim rights. They work closely with other families, sharing their own story and supporting those who find themselves facing similar tragic circumstances. Her case has highlighted the importance of public safety measures in isolated locations, leading to improved security policies in Massachusetts and sparking nationwide conversations about child safety. The Molly Bish Foundation continues to keep her memory alive, educating communities and advocating for policy changes that could prevent future tragedies. For the Bish family, the pain of Molly's loss remains profound, but they have turned their grief into action, fighting for justice not only for Molly, but for countless other children who have been lost or harmed. The unresolved mystery and lingering questions. Despite the ongoing investigation, the question of what happened to Molly Bish remains unanswered. The mystery has left a profound sense of unease for all who know her story. How did a young girl vanish from her lifeguard post in broad daylight? Who was the man in the white car, and why has he never come forward? And if he was not responsible, then who was? The chilling circumstances surrounding her disappearance have led many to wonder if her killer will ever be found. For her family and community, these questions are haunting reminders of a tragedy that should never have happened. They continue to hope that someday, the right lead or breakthrough will finally reveal the truth. The murder at Comins Pond is a heartbreaking case that reminds us of the vulnerability of life and the importance of justice. Thank you for joining us in remembering Molly Bish, a life taken too soon. If you found this story moving, please consider subscribing to Values of the Past and supporting the fight for justice in unsolved cases. We hope that one day, Molly's story will reach its rightful conclusion. Thank you for watching this episode from Valors of the Past. If you enjoyed this journey into mystery and intrigue, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when our next tale from the past goes live.